Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to another class here in Partnership Realty. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present. My name is Patricia Yanes with Pioneer Mortgage Funding. And here I have Mark from A&D Mortgage.
Thank you.
What we try to do here every day, or every time we do a presentation, is to try to bring to you realtors more options, more opportunities, so you can present your clients with better options and avenues of financing their properties, whether if it's for primary residence or investment opportunities. And the reason we are here today with Mark is because A&D Mortgage specializes in all kinds of what is considered non-QM lending. But let me just put a pause there a little bit and let me just tell you a little bit about myself. For all of those of you who know me, my name is Patricia Yanes. I have been a mortgage broker and a financial specialist, first a banker, for over 20 years. I am also a realtor here in Partnership, Partnership Realty, which I love. And my goal has always been to try to provide financing options and help people, reach the American dream, like sueño americano, like to reach, whether if you're an investor, to build wealth with real estate, or to own your own property and build wealth that way you have legacy. So I am a mortgage broker, which gives me the opportunity to work with any lender, pretty much. So I can pretty much, if it exists, I can help you. If the program is out there and there's some kind of financing for it, I can probably help you with that. So with that, without further ado, I want to introduce Mark, and he's going to tell you a little bit about himself. Mark Glazer, everybody. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. My name is Mark Glazer. I'm the wholesale team manager at A&D Mortgage, and I preface wholesale. So Pioneer Mortgage will sell a loan to us for our programs to benefit you, the realtors, and your borrowers. I've been doing this business now about 37 years. I've been in the mortgage business, real estate, banking, appraising, all facets, and then I ended up in the wholesale side, whereby I like dealing with mortgage brokers, and then they deal with the general public. So, but once again, Patricia would sell her loans to us, and then she then consults with me your issues and your problems. We solve them for you on the non-QM side. So basically, when a Fannie Mae loan isn't working, tax returns, full income verification type of loans, non-QM and A&D Mortgage steps in, and we provide you with alternate income avenues to get your borrower approved. And if you're doing an investor loan, then the borrower is not the one we approve. It's more so we approve the property, vis-a-vis the rent of the property. And literally, if you put enough down, it's more the appraisal of the property. The rent is not as significant.
Ok, so voy ahora en español porque sé que tenemos muchas personas en español. Esta es una clase bilingüe. So, Mark, la especialidad de Mark es, él trabaja con un banco que es especialista en préstamos que no son los préstamos tradicionales. ¿Cuáles son sus préstamos tradicionales? Los préstamos que requieren documentación de 2 años de ingreso, los taxes, un crédito específico, los mínimos de down payment como son los FHA, los de veteranos, los convencionales. Este tipo de programas ellos lo ofrecen también y están disponibles, pero donde realmente esta compañía que Mark representa, que se llama A&D Mortgage, donde ellos brillan es en salvar préstamos para personas que quizás no tienen ese tipo de documentación. O sea, personas, digamos, como nosotros, que somos self-employed, personas como sus clientes que quizás son dueños de sus negocios y no tienen quizás la verificación de impuestos porque después de los taxes deducen mucho. Entonces, ese tipo de problema Mark lo soluciona. Otro tipo de problema que también soluciona este tipo de compañía con que yo trabajo es cuando, por ejemplo, hay una propiedad que es un poquito, o sea, por ejemplo, un condominio, ¿ok? Ustedes saben que FHA no toca ningún condominio, o casi ninguno. Entonces, convencional sí los hace, pero a veces necesitan cierto requerimiento. Tienen que tener reservas, tienen que tener ese tipo de... Bueno, Mark trabaja con condos que son no warrantables, o sea, que no tienen todas las garantías. Este banco me lo aprueba. También trabajan con condominios, hoteles. Ustedes saben, en Miami Beach. Y es un concepto que está creciendo mucho cuando los condos son rentados diariamente, como si fueran un hotel. tienen un management company. O hay condos que han sido convertidos de hoteles a condominios y son dueños, pero también tienen un management company. Esta compañía lo financia. Propiedades que utilizan Airbnb, también esta compañía lo financia. Clientes que quizás son inversionistas extranjeros, que no tienen casi documentación, esta compañía la financia. Entonces, yo trabajo con ellos porque ellos me han representado muy bien. Ayer tuve de hecho un cierre de unos clientes en Chile, unos inversionistas chilenos, que esa es la idea de lo que estamos acá, ¿me entiendes? Para que ustedes piensen en quizás oportunidades. Unos clientes chilenos míos que no pudieron venir al cierre, nosotros hicimos el cierre a través de la computadora, con una cámara, remoto. Todo lo que tuvieron que hacer es firmar remotamente, hacer el wire y ya son dueños de propiedad de inversión acá. Imagínense qué oportunidades se lo puede abrir ustedes con clientes que están en otros lugares. Pero sin más, vamos a ir con Mark, vamos a ir en detalle más o menos de estos programas que son como que los highlights de este banco. Como le digo, ocupan mucho y tienen todos los programas ahí, pero me gustaría cubrir, digamos, estos de acá para que ustedes sepan un poquito más de cada uno. Go ahead.
Okay, so as you see on the screen in the back, let's talk for a moment about investor loans. So when you have a rising interest rate economy and you've been relying upon borrowers to purchase primary residence, that type of business is drying up a little bit. But you could always move back to the investor. The investor is an area of profitability for realtors. So as investors out there, they usually have a cachet of funds, the ability to continue buying when primary residence borrowers are no longer buying. So you need to pivot and look to your investor loans. So what does A&D Mortgage do for these borrowers? We offer something called the DSCR loan. So what does that mean? It means that your investor, literally, if they put 30% down on a property, the investor does not have to reveal income, doesn't have to reveal tax returns. All they basically were looking at is the property at 30% down, and whether it's a rentable property, does it appraise, and if your rate is set, let's say, at one way, if your rent equals the mortgage, even if the rent doesn't equal the mortgage, A&D Mortgage provides the ability for Pioneer and Patricia to send us a loan where the rent, it could be a vacant property. We'll still do it on a debt service loan, even if there's no rent to be had with 30% down. Now, if you move to a different circumstance, let's say with 20% down, then they're looking for the rent. It could be the rent today. It could be the rent that the appraiser says is the market rent, not even if it's vacant, and we'll go 20% down on a single family home. Let's talk about some of the interesting things about South Florida. Since the issue we had in Surfside of the condominium having a collapse, they've made it so that limited project review is generally required for most condominiums. So with the debt service loan, if you're putting 30% down, it's just a limited review. We don't need the budget of the condo. We don't need all the paperwork. 30% down, investor gets you to where you want to be in a condominium circumstance. Right. We even do condo hotels on this. Right. So in a condo hotel, literally it's nightly and daily rentals.
Yes.
So under those circumstances, they're vacant. So we would then have to go off of a 1007 rent schedule, or we have the ability with Pioneer as our partner, we could run an internal calculator to see what a short-term rent may be. Again, maybe. And if it meets it, again, you have a loan.
Right.
So debt service loans are a great avenue for a borrower whose tax returns are at issue, and they want to buy an investor property. Again, no income, no employment, no employer. Here's the nice part. Not only it's you out there seeking a borrower, a buyer to do this, you yourselves as realtors can take advantage of that program. Right. If you're driving a neighborhood and you see a house you really like, you could do a 30% down, no income loan, debt service, and pick up a property. If it is really a decent single-family home, you could put as little as 20% down.
Right.
So if you want to pick up some investment property. So the debt service loan has multiple avenues for you as realtors yourself and to go out there, find the borrowers. Again, when the primary borrowers are slow, look to investors and they will be an avenue for you to make sales.
Right. Ok, so para resumirles eso en español, el Debt Service Ratio Loan, este tipo de préstamo es específicamente para propiedades de inversiones, porque es una manera de que no tienen que verificar ingreso como tal, el cliente no tiene que verificar ingreso para calificar. Una de las cosas importantes que Mark explica acá es que, ok, y este es uno de los motivos que esta avenida y que yo quería hacerle esta presentación a ustedes. Cuando los intereses suben, el mercado primario de personas que tienen que calificar con documentación, con taxes, se reduce, porque no todo el mundo califica. No todo el mundo califica para documentar, para enseñar 2 años de impuestos, no califican seguramente con la deuda al ingreso. Incluso se ponen más picky. Dicen, oh, un 7.5%, pero si el año pasado estaban en 3%. Aunque ya no vayan a regresar, es muy difícil. Entonces, como se reduce ese mercado primario por los intereses estar altos, a veces los precios estar altos, este programa le da a ustedes la oportunidad como realtors, ¿ok?, de buscar afuera personas que tienen dinero, que quieren invertir y que no le importa que el interés esté un poco alto mientras la ganancia sea superior a eso. Entonces, por eso es que este programa es tan interesante y es el programa que yo uso, digamos, para todos mis inversionistas extranjeros, porque es súper simple. La documentación es bien sencilla. Necesitan, digamos, si son extranjeros, necesitan su pasaporte, necesitan dinero. Dinero. Con un 30%, que de hecho puede empezar hasta el 20%, con un 30% básicamente no hay ningún tipo de verificación de ingreso. Es única y exclusivamente basado en el ingreso futuro de esa propiedad. Ni siquiera la propiedad tiene que estar arrendada. O sea, la propiedad puede estar vacía y este préstamo va a calificar basado en ese futuro ingreso de esa propiedad. Entonces, esto es como que una manera de que ustedes, digamos, pueden pensar, o sea, ¿qué mercado ustedes tienen acceso? La mayoría de nosotros acá somos latinos que tenemos, somos de otros países. Entonces, podemos pensar así. Un inversionista extranjero no le importa pagar un 8.5% de interés. Pues sobre todo si esa propiedad se va a arrendar y va a cubrirse. O sea, van a tener una propiedad que se va a pagar sola y además va a crecer todos los años en plusvalía, porque además todos los que estamos aquí saben por mucho o muy poco tiempo que llevemos en bienes raíces que esa propiedad en el sur de la Florida siempre se va a valorizar. Entonces, es como que una manera además segura para estos inversionistas extranjeros de traer el dinero, porque lo van a tener invertido no tan solo en Estados Unidos, no tan solo en Estados Unidos en una cuenta que quizás le está dando 0.001% de interés, sino le están poniendo en una propiedad de bienes raíces que se está valorizando mensualmente o diariamente, dependiendo del mercado, y se está pagando sola. ¿Ok? Entonces, este programa es súper interesante. Él me estaba explicando también, o le estaba explicando a ustedes, que es también una oportunidad para ustedes, o sea, como inversionistas. O sea, si ustedes quisieran, no tan solo inversionistas extranjeros, sino todos inversionistas califican, incluso con tan solo un 20%, que es, by the way, de hecho, es la manera tradicional. Un préstamo convencional de inversión es 20% de down payment. Y los intereses van a estar hasta más altos. Aquí con esto no tienen que verificar absolutamente nada de ingreso. Si tienen ese capital, pueden invertir en una propiedad y el cierre va a ser fácil. En menos de 30 días están cerrando y tienen su propiedad. Entonces, para ustedes también, si ustedes ven una propiedad que les guste, si tienen ese capital, se puede invertir. O sea, es como que úsenlo como una herramienta para ofrecer este programa y tener más oportunidades de inversión. Como le digo, para este programa califican no tan solo residentes, ciudadanos, sino también residentes extranjeros, inversionistas extranjeros. También califican propiedades como single family residence, como casas como tal, pero también condominios que incluso no son garantizables, como lo que le estaba explicando de Surfside, después que el colapso del edificio de Surfside, los condominios se han puesto muy pesados con la documentación. Este programa, si están poniendo 30%, no te pide prácticamente ningún tipo de documentación. Con 20 es limitada el review del condominio. O sea, ni siquiera tienen que tener esos documentaciones. Y califican. Los condo hoteles o los Airbnbs, short-term rentals, si son renta diaria o son renta mensuales, también. Es tan sencillo como con un appraisal para verificar esa renta, o con un lease agreement, o con un formato de la compañía de management. Entonces, usen este programa como una herramienta para, o sea, siéntense, miren a ver a quién ustedes conocen que esté interesado en invertir en bienes raíces, si tienen personas en el extranjero, en Colombia, en Chile, en Venezuela. It's a little bit complicated,
Right.
but
Interesting point.
Colombia,
you brought up
okay.
Venezuela. So currently I want to address the new Florida law.
right.
So let's talk about that for a moment. Right now, over the next 2 weeks, in the courts, they're trying to bring out a few more lawsuits that will perhaps challenge the state of Florida's law concerning mainly Venezuelans, Russians, Chinese, Korea, Iran, Cuba, and a few other named countries. So stay tuned, check your Realtor websites. We're hoping to get an injunction, and then they could then reopen again to a Venezuelan borrower, Russian borrower, Chinese borrowers, but right now
Cubans?
it's a little bit in the air. Well, Cubans, it depends on their...
It was a joke, it was a joke.
But needless to say, but if they're living here,
Right.
they have EAD cards, if they have special visas and they're living in the country, it's more so for the borrower that lives in the country that's on this Florida list.
Okay.
We're real hopeful that it will be considered unconstitutional,
Right.
and then we'll go back to our normal everyday business here in South Florida.
Okay, let me translate that. Hablando que yo le dije Venezuela, y no sé si ustedes están al tanto de la nueva ley de la Florida, que los venezolanos, chinos, rusos, cubanos, pero bueno, los cubanos, no pueden comprar. Pero esta ley, bueno, ya hay varias demandas contra la ley, se espera que quizás hagan un injunction y se acabe esa ley, o sea, que no pase. Pero de cualquier manera, esta ley más que nada es representante para personas que están viviendo en ese país, en Corea, en China, en Cuba o en Venezuela. O sea, si son personas que están viviendo acá, es un poco más flexible. ¿Ok? Ok.
Una pregunta.
Ok.
Para personas
I didn't open it for
para
questions.
personas que viven aquí
Ajá.
y no tienen documentos y tienen el 20% de entrada, ¿ellos pueden cualificar para esto sin income y sin nada?
Ok,
Que
so
viven
somebody, ¿de qué país?
cualquier país.
Pero tiene su pasaporte válido de su país.
Sí.
Okay. So the question is like somebody that's actually residing in U.S.,
Right.
but they don't have documents yet. They have their passport from their country. They have the 20%. Can they buy?
At 20% down, probably not. That's too. It's
No,
not
they have
enough.
to be 30%. Foreign nationals, 30.
Yeah, you have a 30,
Sorry, I missed
but
that one.
you will check with Pioneer's
Right.
connections. There are lenders out there who will do that
No,
that you
but
can sell
30%,
to.
30%.
Right, but we do seek documentation.
Right.
So it
You need to have
depends. If
something.
if you're residing here, generally you have your H1, L1 visas, you have your EAD work permits, CO8, CO9, C10, you have your TPS, temporary protected status. Your borrower, whomever they are, must have one of those pieces of documentation
Right.
in order to be purchasing as somebody living here in South Florida. Otherwise, if you're from Europe, you would need a passport and ESTA registration. If you're
Right.
from most of the other countries, you would need a passport and a B1, B2 visa, or you may be here in some kind of special capacity,
Right.
maybe a P1 like a professional person, and so on. There's multiple for national designations.
Okay. So para traducirte eso, y no nos podemos meter en una clase de inmigración, pero no, yo sé.
Mucha gente que,
Sí.
que entonces yo necesito saber.
Claro. Bueno, generalmente cuando la persona entra, primero que nada, foreign nationals o residentes extranjeros son o no permanentes, no residentes permanentes, tiene que ser un 30% por lo menos.
Okay.
35 si es un condominio, a veces un poquito más. Pero para responderte la pregunta, generalmente cuando la persona entra a esta a este país, tiene que tener algún tipo de estatus. Si digamos que entraron ilegal y están en ese in-between, es un poquitico más gris la zona, ahí tenemos que, o sea, me llamas, tratamos directamente con el banco y vemos cómo se puede estructurar. Pero si son personas que están aquí de vacaciones, por ejemplo, y que no tienen un estatus, aunque sea alargado, y tienen su estatus, o sea, tienen su residencia principal en su país, se puede hacer como residente extranjero. O sea, esa es la mayoría de los clientes que trabajan acá. No, sí.
El dinero, el 20%, el 30% o el 40% que tenga la persona en otro país.
Buena pregunta.
¿Es verificado por ustedes?
Sí.
No importa de dónde lo vengan.
So she asked about the money. So the second question that she did is about the money, the funding. Where's the funding has to be?
Okay.
Whether an account in U.S. or it could be an account, a foreign account.
Okay, so
I can answer that question, but I'm going to let Mark answer.
We're going to transition now to foreign nationals.
Okay, so exacto. Vamos a foreign national primero.
Correct.
So foreign national should give us all those
We're
answers.
going to
El
give you
residente extranjero
the
nos da esas-
options to get there.
Exacto,
So
exacto.
pretty much here's the thing. Once again, opportunity.
Yeah.
So if the economy is at issue here,
Yeah.
foreign nationals want to bring their money to the United States.
Right.
It's a hedge against their currency.
Right.
So they would love to have their money here, wherever they're generally from.
Right.
So we've been talking about foreign nationals at 30% down. The 30% down foreign national does not need to show income, employment, employer on their paperwork that they're going to show to us from their home country. That's why we like to do the debt service loans,
The
because they
DSCR.
are all, for us, foreign nationals are investor loans.
Right.
They're not second home, they're not primary, they're investor. So under the investor program, 30% down will get you no income, no employment, no employer, and you could use the debt service program. Now, there's a select group of foreign nationals that are able to provide us a CPA letter translated from the country of origin, demonstrating their employment, self-employment of 21-22 year to date, and then you have the option of going to 75% loan to value on a single family home, and 30% down, they don't even need the income on a condominium. So mostly it's 70% on condominiums here in South Florida, investor, for again, for nationals, and 25% down would apply to PUDs and to single family homes. So if the borrower is able to provide the CPA letter, if they're self-employed for the 2 years and year to date, they could get the better LTV if they're buying a single family home. In reference to the employed borrower, let's say they're working for AT&T of Colombia. So under AT&T of Colombia, they may get a verification of employment from AT&T in the foreign country. They too are able to purchase up to the 75 on a single family. But once again, you could get a little bit of a better rate if you're showing income
Right.
with these letters to do a condo at 70 or the single family home at 75. Once again, foreign nationals. What is unique about A&D's partnership with Pioneer Mortgage is that we don't mind if all of your assets are abroad. All your bank accounts could be abroad and wired here for the closing. They don't need to stop here first in a bank. They could go directly to the title company. But you're required to have a U.S. bank account for the auto debit for a foreign national so that their payment is made on time. So usually when the foreign national is here looking at property, if you're showing it to them, tell them to open up a bank account with $500 so they have a U.S. bank
Right.
account before they go home.
Right.
So we don't mind your assets to be abroad. We don't mind your reserves to be abroad. And if you have 20% down, so if you're buying a $400,000 home and you're putting 20% down, you have it, that's $80,000, and you're doing the 70% transaction, which means you need an additional 10 on top of your 20. We'll permit gifts in the Pioneer Mortgage A&D partnership. The gifts are done by a wire from the family member anywhere in the world except Venezuela. We don't accept currencies from Venezuela.
And how many months reserves?
We require 12 months reserves for a foreign national, but once again, It could be abroad. Once again, it could be in business accounts
Right.
abroad. We're very flexible with foreign nationals. A&D Mortgage has a lot of relationships overseas, and we appreciate the foreign national business.
Right.
That allows us to do single-family homes, condos, condo hotels, new construction, 1 to 4 units, and even on some cases 5 to 8 units on a debt service coverage type of a loan. On the foreign nationals, one nice thing, when you're ready to close, all you need is a laptop at your dining room table, and we do remote notary. It's called Notary Cam. So you basically close at the dining room table, they notarize you online, you print off the note, you wet sign it and date it, doesn't have to be notarized, and you overnight it back to my closing department. When we get it, you fund.
Right.
So there's no more embassy issues, no more flying here. You can do everything at your dining room table.
My closing that I,
Notary Cam.
my
You can
closing
look
that I
up.
had yesterday, I told them the first option was like, okay, go to the embassy. Go to the embassy. The embassy gave him the 29th of September. I'm like, yeah, the
Praise
seller's gonna
God.
wait for 29th of September closing.
No waiting,
Right.
right at your
Okay.
dining room table.
Okay, so let me try to translate that. Okay, so hablamos un poquitico del debt service ratio, que es el programa para inversionistas. Pero si digamos un inversionista, todos los préstamos extranjeros son inversionistas. O sea, nosotros, ningún banco considera una residente extranjero que va a comprar su residencia principal acá, aunque la vaya a hacer, no la considera como residencia principal ni como segunda casa. No, lo considera como una inversión, ¿ok? Entonces, pero hay diferentes layers, o sea, está el TSCR loan que hablamos anteriormente, que es el que no tiene ningún tipo de verificación de ingreso y realmente la documentación es mínima porque se basa más bien en la propiedad, no en el cliente, ¿ok? Se basa en la propiedad más que en el cliente. Entonces, pero hay opciones, digamos, si son residentes extranjeros, de hacer un préstamo como residente extranjero, verificando, digamos, su ingreso, pero es tan sencillo, señores, como una carta notarizada por su contador de su país. Todos estos documentos tienen que ser traducidos, pero realmente, o sea, no es un programa, no es un problema. Yo tengo una compañía que traduce en 24 horas tienes la traducción. Las cuentas de banco pueden estar en su país o pueden estar acá. Aquí incluso el dinero puede ir directamente wired a la compañía de título para el cierre. Ni siquiera tiene que estar acá. Lo único que la compañía, el banco, requiere es, o sea, después del cierre tiene que tener una cuenta doméstica en Estados Unidos para hacer el autodébito mensual. Y ustedes saben que toma, de entre una cosa y la otra, toma como 1 mes y medio, casi 2 meses para que ese primer pago entre. Entonces, también se aceptan regalos, o sea, si hay alguien que quiere hacer un regalo, también se aceptan los regalos, o sea, y todo tipo de propiedades, Incluso él estaba mencionando, para el DSCR, ellos consideran una propiedad de 5 a 8 unidades, o sea, que eso de otra manera hubiera sido comercial. Ellos aceptan como residencial bajo este programa del DSCR loan. So, súper interesante. Yes.
Hi. Can a U.S. citizen have an investor loan on a vacant land?
On a vacant land?
On a
No.
vacant land, no.
That's a different animal. I can help you with that, but that's a different thing.
That's a commercial loan, and Pioneer Mortgage has the facilities
Yeah.
for lenders who do land loans.
Yeah.
He's interested in developing this.
That's a commercial.
Yeah, we can
yeah.
we can get together after that and we can talk about that. Yes, that's a different.
I
Madai.
have a question about the 5 units. We talk about, we have a duplex, triplex, quadruplex, I don't know how you call it.
Well, 5 to 8 is a building.
Okay.
5 to 8.
Okay, 5 to 8, we talk about.
On
the
one
condo,
on one folio.
But this is not multifamily, multifamily when you go to the
Yeah, it's multifamily.
it's
We go
multifamily.
5 to 8 units multifamily.
It's not supposed to be commercial.
Not, we don't consider that. It's
See, that's
5
what I'm
to
telling
8.
you, it's a-
Particular residential, 5 to 8, we put on our program.
Yeah, but the insurance part is a commercial.
That's up to the insurance
That's up
company.
to you, my love. We'll talk
We're
to you
only
later.
talking about what's
We'll talk
available.
to Madai later for insurance, guys.
5 units.
Yeah,
No,
you could
yeah,
go,
but that's the cool thing.
that's
like,
a debt service loan, and
they
we
don't
talked about
consider
earlier.
it a commercial loan. So it is super neat because, if you're so lucky to find a 5 to 8 unit and they have the funds to do it, they can still do it
We
as
can
an
help you
investment.
out on a debt service loan.
Less interest rate.
Absolutely.
It depends.
Better terms
It
than commercial.
depends. Yeah.
Than a commercial will be, or an SBA. You don't have to get into that
Less
mess.
questions.
Right,
So in some cases, it's about the program.
right.
So if the 5 to 8 units in a certain circumstance can meet the facility of everything from profit and losses and tax returns and everything like that, you're going to get a rate, a nice 6-7% type of rate. If you are going debt service, it's a different story. It's about programs.
Right.
It's once again, which is a great transition. We're
Right.
going to move now to
Self-employed
to
and alternative
self-employed
documentation.
and alternate documentation, which is a great transition that you just
Right.
talked about. So, in cases such as you just mentioned, when a 5 to 8 unit property doesn't meet the standard of a commercial lender, tax returns, the profit and loss, leases, everything having to do with the property, when that doesn't work, you could move to the non-QM side. The rates are not going to be what you're thinking. The rates are going to be maybe 2% higher, but they will not be asking the questions that your typical commercial bank will be asking.
Right.
Again, it's program, program, program.
You can still do the DSCR, which is counting in the rental income from those 5 to 8 units. And that's pretty much all the documentation that you would need.
And this best one is the Realtor as the listing agent to provide the profit.
But that's
You don't
that's
need
a
any of that. That's
commercial. That's
commercial.
commercial. You don't need to do that. All
This
you
is
need
debt
is a
service. You need the appraisal.
you need an appraisal.
With the
So-
1007, with the
so
rent
the way
schedule.
the way that it works is that it's a regular appraisal with a 1007, which is a rent schedule.
Or in the case of multifamily, I think it's a 71A or B,
Right,
and it's
right, yeah, exactly.
and it's in the appraisal, which gives you the rent of the property.
But how the buyer know this property do profit?
You could then tell them to go on to various websites, maybe,
Okay.
Realtor.com. You could find something.
Right.
You could find whatever, like Trulia, the various areas. Look up your
No, they
properties.
use them, yeah.
Look up the rent, and then you could get an idea. Or
Or you can do a CMA.
communication.
We're all realtors here. We can do CMAs per
Right.
units, and we have an idea what the income per unit will be
Zillow,
monthly.
You could find it out.
We don't talk about Zillow here. We're
Okay.
realtors.
All right. So it's just the idea of finding a value. But needless to say,
Okay, so
we're
yeah, let's
moving
move
on.
into self-employment income
Self-employment.
and alternate documentation
So-
for income.
So once again, you're leading your borrower down the path to purchase a home. They provide you tax returns, and the tax returns are at issue.
You send it to Patricia. Patricia goes like,
Yeah. And again,
I don't think so.
the being able to go through a tax return today, and some could be 50, 70, 100 pages, where your primary goal is to save money from the IRS.
Right.
So your end income may not be your true income, your spendable income. So when you're doing a loan with non-QM, we're more interested in your spendable income versus your IRS tax return income. So the first place that we address this is, for instance, let's talk about a profit and loss loan. If you are self-employed, we could do a 1-year profit and loss. In this case, August of 22 through July of 23. That is 12 months. You could pull up the super prime and I'll show you. So that's a 12-month profit and loss. And what they're looking for is your true spendable income. So it's going to be like a gross income at the top. Once again, right now it's August 22 through July 23. That's 12 months. And in there, the operating expenses of your business. So we're going to assume that the net of this profit and loss is your pocket income. That's how we do it. And then we divide it by 12. So it's operating expenses. It's not like the IRS. So there's certain things that may or may not be on these P&Ls, which you use as vehicles to save money on the IRS. We're looking for operating expenses. And this will be signed by a CPA or a tax preparer.
Let me make a little hyphen there. This is very important, guys. 98% of other banks, okay, they need the person signing that letter to be a certified public accountant. A&D accepts a tax preparer.
Certified tax preparer with
All
a
you
P
need is to
number.
be a certified tax preparer. This is a big deal. Like, you don't understand how many deals, like I have before, that they were like falling through because the person preparing the taxes, 9 out of 10 times they're not a CPA. They didn't go through the actual CPA training. They're not certified, but they are certified tax preparers, and they've been doing this for 30 years. They're very qualified. They know what they're doing, but they don't actually are not CPAs. Most banks would not accept them. We do.
So you
Okay.
have the letter that goes with it.
Right.
That basically explains to you that you are the owner, or they are your CPA or tax preparer. I am the CPA or tax preparer for you,
Right.
period. It tells you that you are the owner of the business, what percentage, and how long they've owned it.
Right.
And what the business does, and pretty much where they're located, where
And
they
I
do
can
their
help you with
business.
that. We
She'll
have
do
like a
that.
format,
And
for
then
all these forms.
And then the P&L is followed, both signed by the tax preparer
Right.
and dated.
Right.
That's your P&L option.
Right.
Now, you could save a little money in the rate, get a little bit of a better rate if you choose a 12-month bank statement option. Basically, what's been working lately are the business bank statements of a LLC or a corp.
Right.
And the same date, August 22 through July 23, business bank statements. And I'm the one who does the review. And I put them in a category Excel file.
Right.
And then I then consult with Patricia about the paperwork.
Right.
And then we see the basic is a 50% expense ratio unless the CPA or tax preparer writes the ratio is 30%.
Right.
And then we could take 70% of the bank statements.
Yeah.
We don't have any particular business targeted to say we only take 50% from you.
Right.
It's whatever the CPA or tax preparer says on that letter that says the expense factor is X, providing it makes sense.
Right.
So if you own a store and they say it's 5%, that doesn't make any sense. It's a store.
Right.
But again, it's between you, your borrower, Patricia. You will figure out how to go that avenue.
And another hyphen that I'm going to make here, another parenthesis. If you go to other brokers or other lenders, they're going to tell you, yeah, you need to submit the loan. Like, I'm not going to do the numbers for you. And 9 out of 10, you're going to send this person the 12 months bank statements, and you're going to submit a file, and you expect or you think in your mind that you got this income, and it doesn't work because there are transfers from here, from there. Mark does this for me, and I am so thankful. I'm like, send me the last, I go to my clients, and this I'm extending to you. I go to my clients, send me 12 months of bank statements, right? And they send them to me. They send them to me. I'm gonna go in Spanish after. They send them to me, and I send them to Mark, and I'm like, here, look at this. Tell me what you can do with this. And Mark, next day, if not the same afternoon, he's like, okay, Patricia, we can actually use this amount of money. Okay? So that is pretty neat. And I'm going to translate everything in Spanish, or I'll do my best.
So
Yeah.
you have the P&L option and you have the bank statement option.
Right.
Now, here's the interesting thing. Since COVID, some of the people have had their credit affected. So our partnership, once again, with Pioneer Mortgage and Patricia is to understand a borrower's credit. So we have the Super Prime program that's up in front of you. That's got the best rates for non-QM lending. That requires you to have not filed for bankruptcy in the last 24 months, not 4 years, 24 months. It says to you that you haven't had a late payment on your mortgage in the last 12 months. So it's a nice, flexible program. You could have filed bankruptcy, foreclosure, short sale, loan modification 2 years or more ago, and you're going to get the best rate you could get for non-QM. Again, subject to your credit score, subject to relative. Right. Then you see a program next to it. That's called the Prime program. What does the Prime program
I think
allow
I
you
think I
to
should do
do?
maybe a little bit of a recap
Okay,
on
go
what we
ahead.
talked so far.
We'll
Okay.
do Super Prime first.
Yes. We can go into the details of both programs, and I think most things are going to be valid for both. And I'm not going to go into the details. You have the printout with the details of the guidelines. I want to explain mostly what we have been talking about. Okay, so when we go into self-employment income, we have different options. And the option is, like, even for ourselves, we're self-employed. Most of us are self-employed here, right? We get a 1099 at the end of the year, or we own our own company and we do our taxes. Or, we know a lot of our clients own their own business. I'm in English. Oh my goodness. Chuk chuk. Sorry. Ok, I am just repeating. Disculpe, me estaba repitiendo exactamente, pero se me cruzaron los cables y me fui con inglés. Ok, una cosa súper importante que estamos hablando y que quería que Mark explicara es, los programas tradicionales requieren, o sea, después del 2007, vamos a separarlo ahí, después del 2007, que se pusieron más estrictas las reglas de lending, o sea, de prestar dinero para los bancos y las compañías de mortgage y whatnot. Ok, generalmente el punto más importante para los bancos y para el gobierno, para las fuerzas regulatorias, son el ingreso. Tú no puedes poner a un cliente en un préstamo que ellos no puedan pagar. Pero ¿qué pasa? Entonces, a la hora de verificar ingreso tradicionalmente, ¿ok? Como una persona que gana, digamos, un W2 o que tenga un pay stub, es más fácil. Pero una persona cuando es autoempleada, que ya gana un 1099 o tiene su propio negocio, como decía Mark, la idea es que vamos a tener los taxes, analizar los taxes es una locura porque son 50 páginas de cómo no pagarle al IRS. Entonces, obviamente ese es el beneficio de ser dueño de tu propio negocio y dueño, o sea, ganar un 1099, tratar de quedarte con la mayor parte de tu ingreso, pero a la misma vez, a la hora de un préstamo tradicional, cuando uno va a verificar ingresos y tú coges esos impuestos y tú dices, bueno, tengo $300,000 al año, de los cuales hice 265,000 en deducciones, ¿cuánto te queda? Ese es el dinero que el banco va a utilizar como ingreso. Entonces, se convierte un poquito delicado. Ahora, A&D Mortgage, y este tipo de programas, lo que hace es que a ellos no les interesa lo que ustedes deducieron, sino realmente con cuánto dinero se quedaron. Y es por eso que estos programas alternativos existen, como son el Profit and Loss Statement Program. Si uno es dueño de tu propia compañía y tú tienes un contador o un tax preparer, tú puedes utilizar simplemente una carta de tu contador y un Profit and Loss Statement. Un Profit and Loss es de, ¿cómo se dice? Pérdidas, un estado de pérdidas y ganancias, que puede ser de 12 meses, los últimos 12 meses, tan sencillo como eso, donde realmente lo que este banco quiere ver es muy sencillo y yo los ayudaría exactamente con lo que tiene, con el formato, ¿ok? Y simplemente con esa carta, ellos van a poder comprar su casa. Obviamente los términos son un poquito distintos, en el sentido de que quizás tienen que poner un poco más de down payment. Estamos hablando de un 10%, un 15%, dependiendo. Y también con bank statements. Con bank statements, ¿qué son bank statement loans? Un bank statement loan es tan sencillo como 12 meses de estado de cuenta tuyo, de donde entra el dinero. Por ejemplo, digamos nosotros que somos 1099, pero el dinero va directamente, todos los meses va a la cuenta de banco. Ellos utilizan los últimos 12 meses de tus depósitos, para analizar ese ingreso mensual, del cual ellos utilizan un promedio entre un 50% o más. Porque digamos que el 50% se nos quede bajo, todo lo que necesitamos es una carta de ese contador o contable diciendo, sí, es verdad que Patricia trabaja por su cuenta, pero ella no tiene gastos. Su expense ratio es, el radio de pérdida de ella es mínimo, 10%, 20%. El banco va a poder utilizar con esa carta hasta el 80 o el 90% de ese dinero que te entra a ti mensualmente o a sus clientes. Entonces es una muy buena opción. Entonces lo que él estaba explicando ahora, que entre el Super Prime y el Prime, y ustedes lo tienen en su formato, en su cosita con las explicaciones, es básicamente hasta cuánto, los tipos de intereses, los tipos de programas. Obviamente dependiendo cuánto sea el crédito, cómo esté el crédito, ellos van a poder, digamos, prestar más dinero o menos dinero. Y esto es un punto válido, señores. Estamos hablando de productos que no tienen casi documentación o que la documentación es alternativa. Obviamente, ahí lo que yo le digo al cliente, todo con los bancos siempre son compensating factors, factores compensativos, ¿no? O sea, tú no tienes por acá, pero tienes que tener por acá. O sea, tienes que tener un poquito de crédito decente, tienes que tener dinero en el banco. Y así de esa manera se puede hacer. Pero definitivamente les abre a ustedes la oportunidad de tener muchas más opciones para sus clientes, porque realmente funciona. Con este banco yo trabajo, ellos me ayudan exactamente en la carta, cómo tiene que ser, cuál es el formato del CPA. Y funciona incluso con contadores que no tienen que ser certificados, public accountants. 99% de los bancos requieren que la persona que esté escribiendo esa carta, que ellos van a aceptar, tenga que ser un CPA. Aquí tú puedes ser un tax preparer y esto funciona. ¿Ok? So, ya hablamos del super prime. Mark, talk to us about the prime.
Okay, so once again, super prime allows you to have had a bankruptcy, foreclosure, short sale, any kind of event surrounding a mortgage or a piece of real estate 2 or more years ago.
Okay.
Super prime allows you to have had late payments on a mortgage over 12 months ago on super prime. Now we move to prime. What prime will allow you to be as follows. A, you could have limited trade lines on our prime program. So limited trade line means if you just have one trade line and a credit score, you're in. It'll also allow you to have had bankruptcies, foreclosures, short sales 1 year and 1 day ago.
Wow.
It will also allow you, so you have that, and then it allows you to have 30-day late mortgage payments during the last 12 months.
Wow.
So the prime program, again, Pioneer Mortgage through A&D offers you flexibility through Pioneer Mortgage, that if you had credit events, you could still show them property a year ago. If they've had credit events 2 years ago, you could still show them property.
Right.
The idea is to provide, Pioneer Mortgage will provide you opportunity with your borrower. But I stress to you, communication with your borrower, listening to them, speaking to them. Do not be afraid to ask them questions, seriously. Because they call it willful blindness, very interesting subject, whereby you make pretend you didn't hear what a borrower told you, but and maybe it'll go away. Well, again, we're in the 21st century. This is with us everywhere. Information is everywhere. So basically tell your borrower, tell me about yourself. Tell me about your credit. Tell me about your job. Tell me everything, because if you miss or you purposely say, oh, I'm just not going to tell them, no, you'll find out. This is not 30 years ago where a credit report reported every 30 days and it was no one knew anything. Today, it's everywhere. So communicate with your borrower. Who are they? What do they wish? You're going to be the genie. You're going to be the person granting them their wish to buy a home. But if you get this information down, you're able to solve any problems that may come up. And through Pioneer Mortgage, through their relationship with us at A&D Mortgage, we offer you the flexibility of whether you want to go full doc tax returns, they're there. Whether you want to go a profit and loss, bank statement loans, when them being there doesn't work, and so on. And there's one more type of buyer that we're able to help you with. They're called sole proprietor Schedule C buyers, just like you realtors on a 1099. So we're able to do a borrower, let's say, that is a Lyft driver. It would read something like, I am the tax preparer for Jane Doe. Jane Doe is a Schedule C sole proprietor commercial driver who contracts to Lyft since what date? And it says where they are, and you could do a profit and loss for these borrowers, and they go. You know, so don't rule out some medical professionals, physical therapists, occupational therapists. A lot of them are Schedule C sole proprietor, and they contract to various home health agencies. They're perfect profit and loss borrowers. So listen to your borrower, listen to them, find out whether they are a full doc borrower or not. If they're not, you still need to deliver the news.
Right.
You're telling them that rates right now on Fannie Mae are 5 to 6%. Rates on non-QM could be 6 to 8%.
That's the federal.
That's
the Fed rate.
You gotta think about this, and if their credit is at issue, the rate's gonna go up from there.
Right.
Credit, credit, credit equals to your program.
Yeah, so let me just make a little. So the whole idea that la idea completa aquí es que hay opciones. O sea, hay opciones para sus clientes, para casi todos sus clientes. O sea, si tienen incluso eventos de crédito, que tuvieron una bancarrota hace un año y un día, nosotros los podemos ayudar. Si tuvieron pagos tardes de 30 días en su hipoteca, cosa que otro banco quizás no toca, también los podemos ayudar. Pero lo que Mark estaba comunicando es que todo es comunicación con sus clientes. Y yo, la idea mía cuando yo hago estas reuniones, no es que ustedes tienen que aprenderse todos estos programas, ni tienen que saber nada de esto. Yo se los estoy presentando para como que abrirles el entendimiento y que sepan un poquito mejor. Y siempre, y por eso yo sé que Ismael invierte tanto en su educación, porque es muy importante tu comunicación con tu cliente. Cuando ustedes hablan y saben lo que están hablando, el cliente dice, wow, esta persona de verdad que es un súper profesional. Y eso es lo que ustedes tienen con estas educaciones. Pero de ahí a que ustedes tengan que ponerse a explicar programas, ni mucho menos, no se preocupen por eso. Para eso estoy yo, ¿ok? Para eso estoy yo, que tengo todas estas herramientas a su disposición. Yo estoy aquí para ofrecerles a ustedes todos estos programas para tratar de calificar a más clientes posible, pero ustedes no tienen ni siquiera que preocuparse de eso. Cuando ustedes tengan un cliente, sí es bueno preguntar para saber un poquito de cuál es la situación. O sea, siempre nos ayuda. Pero si no, lo mejor es decir, yo te voy a poner a hablar con Patricia, que Patricia se la sabe toda, y si no se la sabe, las averigua. Y ahí me envían un texto. Yo estoy disponible 24/7, a menos que esté durmiendo en el baño, bañándome. Pero, entonces, exacto. Ahí está. Y mira. No me entiende. Siri no te entendió.
AI is invading us. Yes.
Right. Pero la idea es que con estos programas y con mi ayuda, podemos calificar, de Mark, podemos calificar a muchos más clientes. Los recursos están ahí a su disposición. Si es un cliente que ustedes saben que es self-employed y que la compañía le paga a través de la cuenta de banco, un bank statement loan. Si es un 1099 como nosotros, que quiere calificar, o trabaja en un Lyft, eso es un Schedule C, también con un Profit and Loss Statement del contador. Y todos tenemos contadores, porque al final del día todos tenemos que hacer los impuestos. Qué remedio, ¿no? Entonces, eso es tan sencillo como dicen, no tiene ni siquiera que ser un CPA. Obviamente, el crédito siempre va a ser un factor en todo tipo de programa, ya sea FHA, ya sea convencional, y en este tipo de programa obviamente también. Mientras mejor el crédito, obviamente va a ser mejores los términos, mejores los intereses. Pero así todo, señores, una de las cosas que yo le digo a todos mis realtors y a todos mis clientes, compra la casa, siempre habrá oportunidad de refinanciar ese interés si baja. Si es una propiedad de inversión, tú sabes que el dinero va a estar ahí porque se va a pagar solo. Si tú sabes que es una propiedad que tú vas a vivir, pero y el dinero de mensualidad te queda menos que la renta que vas a pagarle a otra persona, ¿tiene sentido o no? O sea, al final del día no se enfoquen tanto ni siquiera en esos intereses, sino cuánto va a ser el pago mensual. Porque al final del día ustedes saben que esa propiedad va a seguir valorizándose y uno sí o sí va a tener que pagar renta, tiene que pagar un lugar donde vivir. O sea, si esto es para su propiedad principal.
Una preguntita, en
Ya.
Superprime estoy viendo casi abajo condos New York, NY.
Ok, bueno. Espere. Pero muy interesante eso que dijo Maday, porque es un punto importante. Recuerden que A&D es un banco. Ellos trabajan con todo Estados Unidos, ¿ok? Nosotros estamos licenciados en el estado de la Florida. Ahora, para préstamos de inversionistas, ¿ok? Yo, a través de Mark, puedo hacer préstamos en todos los estados de Estados Unidos.
So,
Yo sé que ustedes...
to her point,
Right.
and to your question,
Right.
there
Tienen
are
cosas.
about 28 to 30 states that will permit an investor.
Ajá. 30,
So,
no todos, 30.
will permit someone like Pioneer Mortgage to do a loan in that state investor business purpose loan, and she could assist if you happen to have a deal in New York. She could help you.
Right.
And
Or in Hawaii.
so understand,
Or in Georgia.
Correct. Depending upon,
A lot of them. Most of them.
she'll provide you with the list. But if you are looking, don't limit yourself. In some cases, there may be opportunity with perhaps referrals that your real estate office has, maybe in Georgia, maybe New York, maybe you have referral partners there, and then Pioneer Mortgage could help facilitate, get that borrower, and then they're yours for life. You close a deal, she'll help you. We also want to transition now to the properties that we do.
Right.
So we're going to close now with
really
the
quick,
properties.
exactly.
So
But
we
let
will.
me translate that you said
Sure.
really quick. So Madai estaba preguntando en propiedades en Nueva York. Uno de los beneficios principales que tiene que A&D me ofrece a mí como broker, como local broker. Yo estoy licenciada en el estado de la Florida, como ustedes son realtors en el estado de la Florida. Pero digamos que ustedes tengan un cliente que esté interesado en invertir en Hawaii, en Georgia, en Texas, en New York. Nosotros los podemos ayudar. Los podemos ayudar. Y quizás a ustedes, los realtors, eso es una cosa muy esencial de transferir y hacer un referido. O sea que ustedes, con ayudar a ese cliente a comprar esa propiedad, o sea, les abre las posibilidades de quizás abrir esa relación, comenzar esa relación con un inversionista, que quizás este mercado se le ha puesto un poco caro, pero quizás encontró una propiedad en Georgia, una multiunidad en Georgia, o estoy hablando en cualquier lugar, en North Carolina, ellos prestan, yo había dicho en todo Estados Unidos, pero es en la mayoría de Estados Unidos. Son como en 30, 40 estados, de hecho, que prestan. Dependiendo. Igual, la respuesta no se las tienen que saber todas. Me mandan un mensaje, me levantan el teléfono, Patrick, tal estado. Si yo no me la sé de memoria porque no lo he hecho antes, yo llamo a Mark y ahí tenemos la respuesta. Ya.
Permiso.
Sí.
Sure.
Partnership está en Dominican Republic. Partnership.
Okay.
We have an office there.
Okay, so if you have a relationship in the Dominican, you say you have a relationship with you. Okay, so then there's your great opportunity. You talk to your relationship in the Dominican Republic, you put your advertising out, and you say we could do 4 national loans for the Dominican group.
But we don't loan in Dominican Republic. No, negativo.
No.
That's U.S. U.S.
Only, only America.
America.
Yeah. So, but
Nice one, Madai.
No,
I see
but-
what you did. I see what you did there. No. You're not gonna trick us.
I'm gonna take.
Mark, no, she's gonna say, I am these
We're gonna
no.
take you down a different exit route. If you have a relationship in the DR,
Right.
why not start putting out flyers and get the parties to come here and do investment loans, and then
Right.
Pioneer Mortgage could close your 4 nationals from the Dominican Republic. Also gives you an opportunity to go on vacation down there too.
Also, if they already own a property in U.S., we can cash out on that equity.
So then
And-
they go buy another house.
And we can do the loans so they can, so this is that's an interesting point. Okay. So let me just say it really quick in English and I'm going to go in Spanish. If they already own a property, there's a lot of investors that did a lot of cash deals in U.S., right? Because they didn't want it to miss out. They had the cash. They didn't know any better. They put all their money, all their assets into one property or 2. We can do a cash out refinance on those loans and give you the liquidity so you can now help that client invest in 2, 3 properties.
Right.
Line of credit?
No, it's a
a
cash out
regular
loan.
mortgage.
It's a loan.
Regular
a loan,
everyday
okay?
mortgage. But to her point, very interesting that you brought that up.
Right.
That is a big realtor strategy.
Right.
And I had a real estate license too. So
Right.
to understand this, you go back 5 years ago to your sales from 5 years ago. Those property values are through the roof.
Right.
Go and start making cold calls. Go make, like you do listing calls.
Right.
Make cold calls. Hey, I have an opportunity for you.
Right.
Get the cash out for them to have an opportunity to go from owning 1 home to now owning 2 or 3 multiple
Right.
properties.
Right.
And you could make sales from that. And once they get the cash out, you say, hey, you can pick up 50
And they can buy their property in Dominican Republic if they want to. I mean,
Sure. But it's an opportunity for you
Right.
to let them cash out and show them some new property so that they can own more.
right. So, rapidito en español.
How does what work?
It's based on the equity of the property. Based
sure,
on the equity.
appraisal. The
It's
appraisal
an
of the
appraisal.
property.
So let's say, for example, they bought a property cash 2 years ago for $500,000. That property's already worth $700,000, probably, or whatever. Let's say it's 500, right? They have all their assets. They have all this money into that property alone, and maybe they're renting it out. Maybe they're getting money, or maybe it's vacant. It doesn't matter. It's an investment property. We can take that property and we can do a loan based on that equity, based on that value, and give them their cash.
But what's the difference between this and a line of credit?
No,
No,
we're
it's a
doing
loan.
a regular
Okay.
mortgage. You're going to be
a
cashing
line of
out
credit.
at closing.
A line of credit. It's like a credit card. So the line of credit works like a credit card. I give you a line of credit for $20,000. You use 10, you pay on 10. No, this doesn't work this way. I give you a loan for $300,000. You're going to have a monthly payment for $300,000, right? But the point is that they can use that money to reinvest in other properties. So it will give you an opportunity. So en español, rapidito, antes que vayamos a los diferentes tipos de propiedades, después de nuestra rifa y a comer, tengo hambre, es que, digamos, una oportunidad de ustedes es que a través de este banco también podemos hacer este tipo de préstamo, pero como un cash out. Okay. Quizás ustedes no lo vean como un inmediato porque el cash out realmente ustedes no están haciendo la transacción, pero como los puede ayudar a ustedes es de la siguiente manera. En los últimos 2, 3 años, ¿cuántas personas no vinieron de California, de New York, de otros países y compraron sus propiedades y no sabían más, no sabían mejor y las compraron todas cash? Yo sé que como Realtor a veces es mucho más rico, contra cash deal, no tenemos que lidiar con los lenders, no tenemos que dar papeleo, no tenemos que dar intereses, pero la realidad es que quizás este inversionista puso todo su dinero en una sola propiedad. Y tienen esa propiedad ahí sentada que ya la pueden estar viviendo, la pueden estar rentando, vamos a decir que la están rentando. Yo los puedo ayudar a ustedes a que ese cliente le saque la plusvalía a esa propiedad, le saque el dinero a esa propiedad, que haga un cash out, que se capitalice de nuevo. Y esto es una oportunidad buenísima para los inversionistas porque de la manera que yo lo veo y como ustedes creo que lo deberían ver, es que los intereses están altos. Los compradores tradicionales se asustan. Uf, no puedo. O quizás a veces no pueden. Pero los inversionistas, esta es una oportunidad para entrar en el mercado. Ustedes saben que el inventario, de todos modos, no hay mucho. Pero si tú tienes el dinero en la mano, es una oportunidad para estos clientes quizás ponerse 30% y compran 3 propiedades más. 3, que le pueden estar generando ingresos. Y son 3 oportunidades de ustedes de tener 3 deals más. Y de establecer una relación con un inversionista que les va a seguir dando propiedades para el resto de su vida. O sea, va a ser un win-win-win. Porque de esta manera, si ustedes ayudan a un cliente a hacer un portafolio de inversiones, imagínense cómo lo va a posicionar usted con ese cliente. Exactamente.
So we're going to move on
let's
now
move
to
into
property types.
Type of properties, yes.
So we cover
Esto es bien interesante, los
We
tipos de
cover
propiedades.
your standard single-family home, your standard condominium, your standard 1 to 4 unit, duplex, triplex, fourplex. We also do 5 to 8 units in the residential stream under debt service. We cover the condo hotels. So we cover new construction. We cover the PUDs, all property types. We do not do land. So you want to make that as
Mobile
an understanding.
homes?
No,
I'm asking.
manufactured homes are case by case. Because in South Florida, there have been issues whereby the tags may not be right, the insurances are at issue, where they are, the slabs they're on, the parks they're in.
Right.
I would say.
I opened a can of worms.
Right.
Sorry.
No.
I'll explain
and
that
the
one.
answer is, if you have a particular place that you're
Right.
doing them, just use the ones who are common and understand the day-to-day workings of that property.
Right.
So, talking about the condo hotels, we don't care if a condo is
That's a good one.
nightly, weekly rentals. We don't care if they're Airbnb. None of that is relevant. What's relevant is if you're buying, the only thing that's relevant in the circumstance of these properties, in the case of, let's say, the condo hotels, it's nightly, daily rentals. They just have to have the proper insurances. And then again, A&D Mortgage has flexibility that if something is not exact, we can occasionally have exceptions for things that are not exact. And again, that's what brings you from Fannie Mae to the non-QM space,
Right.
is these things that are not, it's a square peg and it's not fitting in the round hole.
Right.
So that's where A&D Mortgage, with the partnership of Pioneer Mortgage, to get you guys to a closing table,
Right.
get the commission in your pocket. So pretty much that's what's brought us here today.
Yeah.
So you've heard the full gambit from everything that you could do with a borrower. Again, walk in, listen to their stories, pick what's best for them. You're the doctors, they're the patients. They need to listen to you in that avenue, and then you call Patricia with your scenario.
Right.
She'll do computations on the spot, and what she can't do, she calls us at A&D Mortgage, and then
Right.
we confer
I
together.
have them on speed dial.
Two heads are better than one, and then we come up with an idea, and then we'll present it to you.
Right.
Remember also in this day and age about speed, about closings, just remember, once you get to down the road and you're near your clear to close, keep an open mind. It took a
Right.
while to get to that point. Give the opportunity for the lenders to get the loans closed. That's all we say. Yes, ma'am.
How soon can you close?
Generally, it's 30 to 40 days start to finish.
Less than 30. It's been my experience.
That's normal.
It depends mostly on the clients, to be honest.
Cooperation.
Right.
Yeah.
Ok, so para traducir rapidito lo que estábamos hablando, los tipos de propiedades. A&D es uno de los bancos más flexibles con que yo he trabajado. O sea, ellos hacen todo tipo de propiedades, de la casa, residencial, condominios, hoteles, los condoteles que rentan diariamente. Señores, ustedes no saben, esto es un tool, esto es una herramienta en su bolsillo. 99% de los bancos no tocan condoteles, no tocan propiedades que tienen renta de Airbnb. O sea, no los tocan. Condos que no son garantizables, que no tienen, digamos, reservas. A&D los hace. Ellos hacen unidades de 1 a 4, tradicional, pero también hacen de 5 a 8 sin tener que irnos en comerciales. O sea, eso también es un super plus. O sea, en la parte residencial, solamente basada en el ingreso. Entonces, básicamente, para ya wrap it up completamente, darle las gracias a Mark y hacer la rifa nuestra y irnos a almorzar, es que hay opciones, hay opciones. Ese es el motivo porque Ismael, ¿quieres venir por acá? Vamos a saludar. He's the broker. Let me just introduce him here. This is Mark.
Very nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you, Mark.
Pleasure, sir.
Great class. Listen
Thank
to
you,
it.
thank you, thank you.
Good to see
The
you.
reason,
Are we ready
the
for
reason, yeah, we're gonna do that now. He's gonna actually pick it.
You
But
can-
the reason
whoa.
Ismael does this.
Oh, we gotta
Esa.
Put it back in there. Is that it? Does he win?
No, I saw who it was. So.
Okay, so now we're
Hold
gonna
on to
raffle
this.
this. Vamos a hacer la rifa. Mark les trae eso de regalo. So
For
you
the-
can relax after
Get your stress
after a
out.
stressful closing. So you can relax after a stressful closing. Ponga las tarjetas.
$20.
We got more cards.
Como Javier.
Sí.
Partnership. No, excuse me. I don't bring mine, but it's partnership.
All right. He's not looking.
He's not looking, he's not
Oh, you
looking.
gotta come up.
Otra.
Now that we
Gracias
showed the
por todo el
prize,
tiempo.
everybody, well, I'll give me more.
Right.
Tell me when you're ready.
All right,
Okay.
and pick it.
Ta-da.
Who is it? Call
A ver,
it
let's
out.
read it. Gabriela Escalera.
Gabby, oh my God.
A ver, ven, sube. Sube. Una foto. Ya. A ver, vamos por acá.
Wow.
Gracias.
Very welcome.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much for your time,
Thank you for
your
having
knowledge.
me.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. Gracias, Ismael, por darnos la oportunidad de presentar y de tener esto. Ok.
¿Ya pagaste? I want to mention something.
Okay.
something that is going on whenever we do our contracts and stuff like that.
Right.
So if we are doing a contract in Fort Lauderdale, give the lenders and the title agency a couple extra days. You know, we could typically do a closing within 3 weeks,
Right.
21 days to 30
Right.
days,
Yeah.
very comfortable, especially in an organization like you guys.
Right.
Okay? But Fort Lauderdale takes about 2 weeks, a little bit longer, to get the lien searches to come back.
Oh.
They are the only county. So when you're contracting a property in Fort Lauderdale, make sure we give them a couple extra
Okay.
days, because you guys gonna need
Right.
that estoppel back. Yeah,
Right.
maybe 45 days. Put on or before,
Right.
because they haven't gotten the lien search back, you know, and so forth. And the lender is not going to give you the clear to close
Right.
until we've got that complete lien search back.
Right.
You know, so if you want to put, again, Fort Lauderdale only, Broward County, put in
Yeah.
there 45 days on or before.
Yeah, that's a
And
very
it's
good
not-
point,
yeah.
because what she asked about the closing time.
Yeah.
And I say, well, based on the clients, like in my experience, it's like the clients delay, but also HOAs. Like if you're dealing with an HOA, especially with a condo association, beware, because they do
Yeah.
take their sweet time to give you the master policies,
Yeah.
to transfer stuff,
Stopples,
and
things
to
like
give
that.
stopples to title company, etc. So that might complicate things. But again, on us, on our side, you're not going to have any delays. We're on top of our stuff. You know,
Yeah, but a lot of
so you
people
have a
start
really good
pointing
team,
fingers
right?
At that point in time.
Right.
So we don't want that. The key word here is on or before.
Right,
Give it a couple of extra days.
right.
Yeah, you want to keep it to the point, to his point, keep the closing theater down
Right.
to a roar, because at a
Right.
certain point, when you get at the end, you're going to have all the parties saying X and the parties
Right.
saying Y. But
Right.
if you've kept them informed, we've talked about this,
Right.
the topic, keep everybody informed of
Right.
what's going on, and you're going to have a great
Exactly
closing.
Right.
Communication.
Big
Yeah,
communication.
and I do have Michelle, my processor. She's amazing at that. She copies pretty much everybody. So I mean, you will know everything's going on. Inspection went through, appraisal, so you'll be on track. And if we use our, you know, our coordinators here are amazing.
They are.
If we use
They
Sonia,
truly are.
you met Sonia, met Sonia. Our closing coordinators are amazing. She will like help you with the whole thing, and we're all communicated.
That's good. Well, again, thank you all for having me.
Thank you for being here, Mark. I appreciate you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
All right, let me.
Now let's eat.